Welcome to the Hub of Champions, part of Belief Network. I am Shukri Wrights. Be sure to subscribe, comment, rate, and follow the podcast and tell all of Boston sports fans to do the same. You can watch us on Belief TV around the country, in airports, and on YouTube. Read the top Belief stories at si.com and follow us across all of our Belief socials as well. Wherever you may be, however you may be listening, thank you for making this show part of your routine as we're coming to you on the day of the recording on Thursday, July 18th, 2024. We are in the middle of summer, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the middle of a heat wave, depending on where you are in the country, of course. Because let's face it, I have viewers and listeners from all across the country, not just only in New England, but people who watch, frankly, all over the world, this particular podcast about Boston sports. And what's sizzling right now in Boston is a man by the name of Jarren Duran, who, frankly, you can be more glorious and more spectacular than he was when he was in Dallas the other night at the All-Star Game on Tuesday night. Jarren Duran put his name on the national spotlight in front of the world to watch. Those who are watching the All-Star Game on Fox, those listening nationwide on ESPN radio, he put out his name in a way in which that it was only befitting for the state of Texas. Texas forever. Jarren Duran has forever etched his name in Red Sox All-Star Game MVP lore. Jarren Duran was named the All-Star Game MVP. After all he did was provide the game-winning home run for the American League in the All-Star Game. That's all he had to do. After all, the national spotlight got to shine bright on a player who already was doing big things for the Boston Red Sox in 2024. Why is this a big deal? I think this is a big deal for a number of reasons. Jarren Duran, as we know, he wears a bracelet that says, fuck him. If you ever go on his socials and you go and you find Jarren Duran clips anywhere across social media, you see that he wears a bracelet with that vulgar phrase, fuck him, but there's a reason why. When you study his story from where he was to where he is now, it's nothing short of incredible. Jarren Duran has been open about his battles with his mental health and has served as an inspiration to so many people. You think about the struggles he had in the 2023 season for the Boston Red Sox, where, frankly, he was questioning whether he had a place in the game, whether he had a place in life, and to see where he is now is nothing short of incredible. Nothing short of astounding, amazing when you watch and you listen to how he has carried himself in the midst of his own battles, serving as an inspiration to others. Jarren Duran deserves his flowers. You got to give him his flowers. In Texas, they say everything is bigger in Texas. Jarren Duran's name may be biggest in baseball right now. And that is because of what he did. What he did, winning the All-Star Game Most Valuable Player, all he did was become another member of a pretty nice list of Red Sox players to have won the All-Star Game MVP. But what he also did was also become a beacon of light for so many people who are battling through mental health issues, whether if it's anxiety, depression, etc., and so forth. What he did was also shed light on the people who are struggling and him becoming a voice for so many people who don't have the courage or the strength to speak up. That is something worthy of being proud of. And for Jarren Duran, on a personal level, he resonates with me. Not because of my love for baseball, but as someone who has been vocal, who has been open about my own struggles with anxiety. He showed everyone that no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're facing, It is possible to go out there and perform on a high level. And not just only that, but also use his platform to spread awareness, mental health awareness. And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, is something to admire, something to be proud of. When you're able to utilize your platform for something that is far more bigger than yourself, that speaks a lot about who you are as a person and a lot about who you are as a man. Jarren Duran symbolizes strength, resiliency, and courage. Three attributes, dare I say, that has symbolized the Boston Red Sox in 2024. Strength, courage, and resilience. The Boston Red Sox at the All-Star break, they are a playoff team. They are a team that is in serious contention to play in the postseason in October. Jarren Duran, in more ways than one, is someone that you look at and you say, you know, who was the perfect poster boy for the Boston Red Sox in 2024? Jarren Duran. This is a player that not many people even expected a whole lot of. Because let's face it, according to the numbers, and the Red Sox are a team that is run by the nerds. According to the numbers, Jarren Duran was not expected to hit more than 255, 10 home runs or 11 home runs, and let's say 55, 60 RBIs. He was not expected to do much. But here he is, batting in the 280s. He's got 10 home runs already at the All-Star break. And it wouldn't surprise me if he finishes the season with 20. All the while defying the odds. Jarren Duran has defied the odds in his personal life and as well as his baseball career this season, resurrecting from where it was just a year ago. In America, we love a good comeback story. We love a good feel-good story. We love to see David versus Goliath, David beating Goliath. We love an underdog story. Someone who wasn't expected to do much, defying the odds, and performing at a level that exceeded expectations. We all love those type of stories. The Boston Red Sox in 2024 is the prime example of a team that is exceeding expectations. Jarren Duran is the perfect example of someone who has exceeded expectations for him that has been placed on him by others. When you exceed expectations that others put on you, you have every right in the world to tell the rest of America to basically F off. You didn't expect much of me, but here I am on the stage, ready to prove to you all that I am worthy. I am worthy of respect. I am worthy of being seen. I am worthy of being valued. That is what Jarren Duran has done. And with his performance at the All-Star game, all it did was cement the fact to the rest of the baseball world. Watch out. I am here. My name is Jarren Duran. I play for the Boston Red Sox, and I am coming for that ass. I am coming for everything that you thought that we couldn't get. I am here to stay. Jarren Duran showing that when you are able to exceed the expectations makes you even more remarkable in the eyes of those who admire and respect you. You talk about what Duran has been able to do offensively, defensively for the Boston Red Sox. We all know what Duran has meant to the Boston Red Sox in 2024. A big part of why the Boston Red Sox right now could very well possibly be buyers at the trade deadline. Even if it went against the grain, against the angst of Craig Breslow or Sam Kennedy or John Henry. Jarren Duran, the perfect poster boy for fuck him. I am going to prove you wrong and you're going to value me. You are going to respect me. You are going to see me. You ain't got to like me, but you're going to respect me. And that is something that I can absolutely respect. Jarren Duran, you got the size of Texas balls dragging back to Boston, in which that you are now about to help prove the Red Sox, and the Red Sox are about to prove to the rest of the baseball world, this is a team that believes. And when you believe, anything's possible. Anything. Coming up next, we need one particular player on the New England Patriots to step up. I'm going to share with you exactly who that is. Coming up next here on the Hub of Champions podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights. Welcome back to the Hub of Champions podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights, available wherever you get your podcast. And as a reminder, this podcast and all episodes of the Hub of Champions podcast is available on Sirius XM Radio app. Download the app, listen to the Hub of Champions podcast on there as well. And wherever you get your podcast, it's also available on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts, and as well as available to watch on YouTube. Watch it on YouTube, watch it on your smart TV, wherever you are in the country. Don't forget, we're also available on Believe TV in airports across the country as well. You know, availability is the best availability, right? I know we've all heard that saying before, because no one likes anyone who does not have the ability to show their worth because they're unavailable. Availability is the best ability. That applies in corporate America. We all want someone who is available, who has the ability to show up every day. We all want someone who is dependable, who is going to be durable, and who is going to be able to improve their value and their worth each and every single day. The New England Patriots are no different from any other corporation in America. The New England Patriots, after all, they want players just like all 32 teams across the NFL. They want players that are going to show up and show out on a weekly basis consistently. Which is why, as we are now entering the start of Patriots training camp with the rookies reporting to Patriots training camp on Friday, that availability, it being the best ability, is going to be even more important. Because after all, when you look at the Patriots defense, you look at the pass rush, and who are two of the best pass rushers on the New England Patriots right now? Matthew Judon and Josh Uche, correct? Right. So let's start with Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon has become known in New England for wearing the sleeves underneath his jersey, whether it's the home jersey or away jersey. The red jersey. Yeah, we love seeing red on the field, especially if you're a Patriots. We love seeing the red sleeves and wiping your forehead from a long day of work. How about wiping your forehead saying, phew, after a long season of hard work where you showed up week in and week out? We saw last season that Matthew Judon missed significant time at the end of the season because of injury. I'm not going to knock the man for being injured. That's not his fault. But I am concerned about that in December, he's had the propensity of disappearing. The colder the weather gets in New England in November and December, the smaller Matthew Judon gets. Not a recipe for success. If anything, it's a recipe for disaster. Because the fact of the matter is that Matthew Judon, his impact goes beyond just his numbers as an individual player. His value can be seen in the way how he also impacts Josh Uche when he's on the field. Because here's something that doesn't lie. Numbers. 19 games in which that Matthew Judon lines up opposite of Josh Uche. Josh Uche has 12 and a half sacks. 11 games, played without Matthew Judon, line up on the opposite side, Josh Uche has 2 sacks, just 2. His sack production sinks faster than the Great Recession at Wall Street. Not good. But let me start with this. Matthew Judon, if the Patriots are going to be somewhat respectable, because let's face it, the Patriots are not expected to be a respectable team in 2024. Let's not kid ourselves. This team is in the midst of a rebuild. And when I say rebuild, we're talking about we're laying the concrete foundation below street level. That's where they're at right now. This is not going to be a good Patriots team. But what I am expecting is that this defense to be a lot more respectable and a lot more decent than what we saw last year and the year prior. The year prior, they were actually good. They were not terrible. But Matthew Judon pulling the disappearing act, pulling a Houdini, if you will, in November and December in his Patriots career, that's got to come to a stop. We, the New England Patriots, need Matthew Judon to step up and continue the high level of production that he has in September and October and not suffer any sort of significant drop-off by the time the weather gets colder, when we get to the Thanksgiving holiday season, and by the time we get to say hello to Santa come Christmas time. Because the last thing Matthew Judon needs to be doing is saying, no, 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 when Santa comes knocking on the door saying, ho, ho, ho. We don't need that. What we actually need is Matthew Judon to stay on the field and being healthy. And as I just shared with you, Matthew Judon's presence on that defensive line, having the impact that it has on the rest of the defense for the New England Patriots, most notably Josh Uche. We need Josh Uche to be able to perform and to be able to get to the quarterback the same level in which that, whether if Matthew Judon is on the field or not, he can still produce. I'm fully aware of that. Matthew Judon garners a lot of attention by opposing offensive line. That is a fact. That was the fact when he was with the Baltimore Ravens, and is a fact now as a member of the New England Patriots. But with that attention should come even more responsibility for the rest of the defensive line to step up. Christian Barmore, I'm sure that he can produce even more, continue to be a force. Josh Uche, we need to see more from him, whether if Matthew Judon is playing or not. Because the reality is this. Despite the attention that Matthew Judon gets when he's on the field, Josh Uche, if he's going to be considered to be among the upper echelon of pass rushers in the NFL, which he isn't just yet, he needs to produce more, whether Judon is on the field or not. Which is why we need Matthew Judon to stay healthy and Josh Uche to perform on the field, because the reality is whether one is on the field or not should not have anything to do with your production level. No one likes a car that isn't able to operate in all seasons. Some of you might like summertime vehicles that's good for the summer, but their tires are bad for the winter. Those are the worst kind of cars to have. You want a car that's going to be dependable, that's going to be able to survive the rugged winters and the harsh elements. That's what you need from Josh Uche, to be able to survive and thrive through the harsh elements, whatever season that is, regardless of what's going on. You need reliability and dependability. You want to be able to have your pass rushers available and dependable, just like a lion that is going out into the jungle, hunting its prey, ready to provide for its tribe its meal and ready to eat. The brother's starving. Josh Uche needs to be starving, regardless of whoever is there next to him in the pack. One of the key things I'm looking forward to this upcoming season for the Patriots, now that Patriots training camp is underway, is Josh Uche performing at a high level, regardless of whether Matthew Judon is lined up on the opposite side of him or not. Doesn't matter. We need consistency, and we need to see it more at a higher level from Josh Uche. Coming up next, I want to share with you my thoughts of Jaylen Brown's snub from Team USA. And it's, in a way, become a bit more of a bigger story, especially as it pertains to the Boston Celtics. So I'm going to share with you my thoughts on that coming up next here on the Hub of Champions with the host Strictly Rights, wherever you get your podcasts, including Sirius XM Radio and as well as on YouTube. Welcome back to the Hub of Champions podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights, wherever you may be, however you may be listening to the pod. I appreciate you listening and taking the time to listen to the Hub of Champions podcast, all Boston sports podcast, where I discuss all things Boston sports and as well as some national topics as well. Sometimes, of course. You know what I mean. I appreciate you, the subscribers who listen and download the pod. Keep it coming as well, and those who watch on YouTube as well. I appreciate my audience wherever you are, however you may be consuming the content that I provide. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your support does not go unnoticed. I appreciate you all, especially during this during the most quietest of time of the sports calendar year, as we're getting ready for the start of NFL training camp. So with that being said, speaking of training, Team USA right now is in the midst of playing its tune-up games, getting ready for the Paris Olympics. We're starting up in very short order. And right now, the continued conversation is surrounding Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. The big news over the last week or so, in which that Derek White, his teammate, was selected as a replacement after Kawhi Leonard had to bow out of the Olympics due to an injury. And Jaylen Brown not getting selected has created a swirl of controversy and, dare I say, even chatter among the national folks. So there is something that I thought about as I was preparing for this particular episode in regards to Jaylen Brown, and that is that I can't help but to think that Jaylen Brown is on a mission right now with everything that has transpired this summer, getting snubbed for the Olympics for the first time, their initial selection process, and now the second time with his teammate Derek White getting selected. I can't help but to think that Jaylen Brown is going to come into training camp this fall for the Boston Celtics on an absolute mission. I know that for a fact, that Jaylen Brown, with all of the disrespect and all of the questions surrounding him and his relationship with his teammates, he's going to come into training camp on an absolute different level of a mission. We know that eyes are already being set on battle number 19 for next season for the Boston Celtics. But Jaylen Brown has a whole other level of test, a level of challenge that he is going to have to face. Because guess what's going to happen? All eyes is going to be on Jaylen Brown, not just because he's a defending NBA champion of the Boston Celtics, but because is there going to be any, rift, any sort of drama among teammates on a team that was the best team in the NBA last season, and now seeing the recognition that Derek White got ahead of Jaylen Brown, who, by the way, was an All-NBA last season and also an NBA Finals MVP. That's going to be the talk of the training camp once training camp gets underway. What's funny is that when we oftentimes see someone successful, and this is often, we see this in life, but especially in sports here in this country, when we see someone or a team successful, the media has a way of wanting to do whatever it took to tear it down. It's no coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, that after all, this is what they're doing with the Celtics team. The national media didn't want to give the Boston Celtics their flowers. They didn't want to give them their respect. They didn't want to do any of that. Going into the NBA Finals, you saw it throughout the entire postseason run for the last 2 months up until June 17th when they won their 18th championship. You saw it. And now, Derek White gets selected. Ooh, Guess what's going to happen now? Ooh, is Jaylen Brown happy for his teammate? Is there animosity there? Is there jealousy? But did he do the same thing that he should have done with Jason Tatum for checking in on his teammate too? This is what's happening with the media. This is what the media does. When we see success, we want to find reasons to tear it down. Sports has a full-blown list of examples that proves such ideology. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Go back to the time of the New England Patriots, their dynasty. Go back and look at the New York Yankees, late 90s, early 2000s. Go back to, the Chicago Bulls. And yes, even though it was their late general manager who was responsible for tearing down that Chicago Bulls dynasty, but let's be honest, the media played a role in it too. This is why I would say that the Celtics, but especially Jaylen Brown, he's going to have to be very careful. And he has done a good job of being very careful. Because after all, he got out in front of the camera, in front of the mic, and said, I've already spoken to Derek White. We're good. He knows how I feel about him. We're good. Nothing to see there. He did a good job of putting out the small embers before it can engulf in flame and turn into an inferno. Jaylen Brown put out the flames before it can turn into a large raging inferno. The same way that he and as well as his teammates are going to have to do when they reunite for training camp. And I'm talking about Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday as well. Because the media loves to create these headlines and these storylines in which that sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's just flat out contrived. That how can we find a way to drive a wedge in between greatness? As I just shared with you, there's so much examples of that in sports. This is pretty much as if like people are seeing what you are now accomplishing. You reaching the pinnacle of greatness, and whatever people can grab a hold of to try to tear you down, they're going to do exactly just that. They love to see you do well, but never better than them. That is basically sports media in a nutshell. Whereas we want to see the Celtics do well. Of course, if I'm talking about the Boston sports media, they want to see the Celtics do well. But the national media, we don't want to see them do too good. So we're going to grab any sort of storyline that we can possibly get and turn it into an even bigger story. Is there a rift between Tatum and Brown? Is there a relationship there? Do they like each other? Do they like playing with each other? How is Jaylen Brown's relationship with Derek White? All of that. And all that to simply say that this is the game in which that, and especially in this age of sports talk radio and social media, that rumors spread quicker than a California wildfire. All you need is dried up bark of trees laying around all around the landscape, and all it takes is the right kind of ingredients in order for everything to go up in smoke. All of which that you built, gone in a matter of seconds because the ingredients were there. So Jaylen Brown is already on damage control, whereas I am not going to let the media tear apart what we have as a team and what we are building. Because I think the rest of the NBA knows this is a budding dynasty we're talking about. If they continue to stay healthy all of next season, the same way that they were throughout this championship season. So Jaylen Brown, in more ways than one, he's become the Celtics PR man in more ways than one without any of us fully realizing it. I feel like Jaylen Brown has had to do more damage control than Michael Jackson's PR team did during his time of controversy. That's basically where we are. And if Jaylen Brown continues this march, don't be surprised that Jaylen Brown comes out this upcoming season for everything and everything that's in his way. Don't be surprised. All the media is doing is giving him ammunition. And when a man is motivated, a man is dangerous. But when a man is disciplined, motivated, and focused and consistent and dedicated, he is absolutely unstoppable. Jaylen Brown is unstoppable. And watch him next season take everything to the next level. Just watch. And that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Hub of Champions podcast with your host, Shukri Wrights. Don't forget to subscribe, download, and tell other Boston sports fans to check out the Hub of Champions on Believe TV in airports across the country, as well as on YouTube across all of our socials as well. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I look forward to talking to you again next time. Take care, everybody. Peace.